update regarding the African Caribbean leader election for Brent.
Mm-hmm.
You said you wanted to know about the candidates and stuff.
Yes, I was just wondering if the candidates had spoken about themselves and if the numbers had reduced.
Yes,
Because
it's the interview sessions began, and we've already had 3 interviews so far. So we've had interviews with Ahuna High Priest, which was on Thursday, Uncle Show. So for anybody who didn't get a chance to listen to it, please check the Mixcloud.
Mm-hmm.
And then have a listen to the recordings of it.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday, there was an awesome interview given by Menti, the Awaken Up,
Mm-hmm.
the Kevin Uncle OG's show. So again, if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, it's currently being played in the sequence of the station's sort of playlist.
Mm-hmm.
So you can listen to it that way, or you can head to Mixcloud. And last night we had Cheryl Phoenix interview on Lady M's show.
Okay.
Yesterday evening. So again, if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, please check the Mixcloud recording.
Mm-hmm.
So the candidates now, there's 8 candidates. It's very, very interesting. The number of participants, as far as the voters are concerned, has been steadily increasing, which is very, very encouraging.
That's good
to see.
That's definitely.
Yeah, so I think we're around the sort of 500 participants people mark at the moment in time, which is very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been, I think, a couple of weeks ago, there was an initial sort of draft where candidates drew us for the lowest point. The list that reduced from 15 to 9, and in the past week, unfortunately, due to heavy commitments, Leo Mohammed has had to pull out of the race.
Mm-hmm.
And he, chose to express his apologies and stuff like that. But he's got a lot of commitments that he's trying to juggle those with this. He didn't feel that he'd be able to do this justice.
Mm-hmm.
But he wishes the whole, endeavor, the best, and he's happy to support him. Will support whatever it is that if he's reached out to,
Mm-hmm.
as far as helping out with certain things in areas.
Yeah. So that's a shame. Not to say that I'm throwing my hat in the ring for Leo. I'm just saying that's a shame for the fact that he had to drop out. I would have loved for everyone to have gone through to the end to see what the.
Yeah, the thing is that he's also got a credible person there as far as from that nation of Islam background in the form of Abdul Muhammad. Okay. So, but yeah, he's a heavyweight, name. But you can imagine his workload. Yeah, literally the amount of commitments he's got. Just makes it very, very difficult for him to tackle, because this also needs somebody that can devote, the applicable amount of attention to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but so far, so good. We give thanks to everybody who's participated. All your support is greatly appreciated. I mean, this is showing that we as the people, as a community, when we put our minds to something, we can actually achieve something, So, over a month and maybe 6 weeks ago, all of this was still being talked about. Now it's a reality.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I appreciate that for the update. So everyone's up to speed to that. So, are they?
Before I go, the thing you were talking about briefly before the break about this restaurant owner.
Yeah.
That was chastising women for twerking in his restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a little bit of research in it. I understand where you're coming from, okay? But it depends on the kind of establishment it is. The brother, as far as he's concerned, he is trying to
No, I understand what he's trying to do and everything, but I'm just saying we have to all get there, and I'm not one of those proponents to create second-class citizens, a split. I understand that sometimes you have to just leave some people behind, but when people are coming out in that context and they're supporting your establishment and they just they're rough around the edges of certain things, it's not for us to judge. And
because one of the things I looked at as well when I conflict is the comment from people. And I'll tell you something, 95% of people actually support him. And that's like from a different range of background, ages and stuff like that.
Yeah, but imagine this now, right? Imagine this, right? If it was some white women doing that and he did that, right? Would the reaction still be the same?
So I believe so, because I tell you why. Right? You see, if this was like a wine bar type setting with a restaurant attached to it, I understand.
No, that you're not getting the bigger picture of what I'm saying. If this were a bunch of white women, his final straw wouldn't have been in such a harsh, abrasive manner. And what I'm saying is, he took that harsh, abrasive manner because of the clientele, who he was dealing with. And what I'm saying, the clientele were behaving that way because of the clientele. And so I'm saying the balance between the two, there has to be equilibrium. Is resolution tactics was understandable but poor. And
what I would have done, if that was my restaurant, right, and if I didn't like that kind of thing happening at my establishment, what I would have done is that I waited for them. When they leave us, I would just pull them into the office and say, listen, people, thank you very much for patronizing the restaurant, but my vision for this restaurant is going to be, a high-class establishment. Now, I had a look at the video, and,
there's a simpler way of doing it. If that is the case, as he would have done with any, if it was any type of other person, VIP guest or whatever, you ask them to leave and say, listen, the bill is sorted. This type of behavior on this occasion, is not acceptable. Please, I'm not saying that's how he has to do it. He doesn't have to do it the way that I'm saying. I'm just saying there needs to be a better way we deal with each other by forming and finding that common ground. Yeah, there needs to. Exactly. They're not right for twerking in the window. He ain't right for swearing like that. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? We have to find that balance and that equilibrium in a more appropriate way. And I'm not saying they right. I'm not saying he right. I'm just saying this is the society of OnlyFans. Yeah. And if for those who understand when I say OnlyFans, this is a society of OnlyFans, and a lot of women are paying their bills because of OnlyFans and Instagram. So as a result of that, the attraction to those modules and societal thinking and social networking is created because of the narrative of how you draw attention to that. You get what I'm saying? So people are encouraged through social media to create a certain lifestyle that's then blasted when they have no other form of decorum. So we have to
remember what I said earlier about conflict resolution. I would actually apply it in this kind of scenario. There is no conflict per se, but how you react.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to be nice. You get more when you are nice. Okay, and adults would know. If you tell them that, look, your behavior, whatever it is that you've done, is not acceptable.
Okay.
Next time they come in, they won't do that again. They're decent people.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to go that route, because they would have responded in the same negative energy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You tell me get the F out.
Yeah.
And then you would have turned to
something else. I mean, so there's different ways of approach. I'm not saying he's wrong, because I wasn't in the situation, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying we need to find a better way to deal with each other. That is understandable of all involved. Yeah.
I know, but as you said, if you're at your restaurant, you wouldn't mind if people twerking in it.
No, I mean, you get me. I'm saying, yeah, man. Then stay over there. You want to eat the food. Them about that, you get, if there were kids in the restaurant, that would be a different story. I'm saying, come on, there's children here. You know what I mean, ladies. But if it's beer big people from the video I saw, it's beer adults in the restaurant, I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Yeah. Yeah, man. All right, cool. They twerk if they want to twerk. You get me? I ain't gonna be a jerk. Hear the rhyme? Yeah. We had a caller during the break. We had a couple callers in the break. Mm-hmm. You want to go first? You had your first caller?
Yep. his name.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Brother Man?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Show on Thursday.
Oh, the Double KO show,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
8 till 10. Basically called in just to say that he's from a Afro-Caribbean household, and his parents basically installed him to be black and proud. And his experience of, he just basically described his experience of different examples where his parents taught him how to be like that.
So he understands what is the context, because it begins at home, where you create balance, not necessarily you have to instill confidence in your youngster in how to deal with society, but you also have to instill factuality, because when a youngster is raised with confidence but no identity of self, there's something lost in translation. You can see a lot of these youngsters out there, there's a loss of cultural identity. And the only time that cultural identity comes to fruition is, like I mentioned earlier, when there's a death and Black Lives Matter get involved. That's when everyone's black and so forth. But during the intrinsic stages, where you need to have structured and positive action, where there's no ill and untowardness, and you can build and create some united organizations and strength in groups. Everyone's out there with their white friends, the Asian friends. I'm not saying you shouldn't have that, because I have those. I'm just saying you have to also have a concept of home and security for those that look like you, and learning to build with those that look like you. And if you don't have that, your Asian friend will have that with his community. Your white friend will always have that, because this is a white society, you know what I mean? So it's naturally ingrained in the police force. And so when it boils down to it, and it gets to and you know what hits the fan, it's always us that is unprotected and unguarded, because the creativity of minds of our youngsters, sorry, apologies, the creativity of minds of our youngsters wasn't focused on a problem that they may have to face up to one day. You know, when I listen to these call-in radio shows and doing my research, and I hear black folks calling in saying, I'm a black person and I've never been stopped by the police, and blah blah blah, and rare, you get me? They're some of the most ignorant. You ain't being stopped by the police don't mean that the police ain't racist and prejudiced in their stops. And when you go in there and throw in your hat and try to disparage those that have been going through the trials and tribulations, yeah, these are little problems, you know. So we have to be educated and aware of all the dynamics. If you ain't been stopped, it's better you call in and say, I'm a black person, I ain't been stopped. This is how I conduct myself, and I would love to support and teach others how they can conduct themselves that perhaps would help them avoid difficulties when they're engaged in society. But you do that, offer your guidance with it then. But the moment you start to take away from someone else's experience, it's the moment that you are belittling something that will definitely come back and bite you in the rear, because we have to have a united front against anything that comes against us, just like how everyone else does. Call you live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I just wanted to quickly promote Brother Man's show coming this Thursday. There should be the interview with Nubia Jack on there.
Okay.
Tomorrow, interview with Andrew Mohammed on the AM show. And Thursday morning or Friday morning should be interview with Leonard Johnson on Uncle OG show.
Okay, no problem.
Hopefully, we're trying to arrange something for the weekend. It will be Lady M's interview, either going to be on a Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. All right, cheers. Yeah. So the other call was from a sister, and she was explaining about a few bits, asking if we had covered it. One of them being the deportation for the flights that we mentioned earlier, going to Jamaica tomorrow, the chartered flight going to Jamaica tomorrow. And you know the views on that. If you'd missed it, please, go to the mixcloud.com/Omega DJ page. Perhaps my show is up there. I don't know, but it's definitely on the YouTube channel under the on the YouTube channel of the Doctor's Surgery. So when you're going to YouTube, filter by channels, go to Doctor's Surgery. The first part of the show is already up. You can watch that. Share it with your peers if you like the show. Only if you like the show. If you don't like it, why share it? But if you do, subscribe and share it with your peers. Then the other aspect of things that the other topic that she mentioned was the sad loss of life of killed by the police of Edson da Costa, a 25-year-old father, car mechanic by profession. 5 minutes after being stopped by the police on the 15th of June in 2017, within 5 minutes he was lying unresponsive on the ground. After an inquest and inquiry, family and friends are still fighting for justice. And this is what I mean when I say the system is growing more and more prejudiced. It's unbelievable, some of the information that was presented that were untoward within the coroner's court. The coroner asking the jurors or the people involved if they were part of the BLM movement and all these kind of things. I think you guys should have a read up on it yourself, because I didn't know about it and it was mentioned. I think it's very important to kind of send that message out there to say, listen, all this stuff by Crusader Dick, head of the Metropolitan Police, because when I say the names closely with her title, people assume I'm being disparaging. So let me say it with a little bit of pause. So Crusader Dick, head of the Metropolitan Police, she's come out and as if she's supportive of black folks. But anyone that see Crusader, that ugly ass witch, knows that ugly ass witch is. Oh, sorry, I can't say that. The producer is telling me off, but I think she's a witch. You get me? She looks like a witch from. Oh, I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that I think she's a witch. So
why are you repeating it?
Oh, sorry. She says that black boys are 9 times more likely to get stopped by the police. Yeah. What else? Yeah. But anyway, with see if you throw me off now, I can't even get the flow. So
you're too busy cussing, so I don't know.
No, because
I don't know what flow that was.
I think she's the worst police commissioner. Next to what's the other one before her, Stevens, whatever his name was. I think they've been terrible. I think yeah. Anyway, which so basically the police force needs guidance, because the police force is not in a position where they're helpful of black folks. I heard a police officer call into a radio show the other day, and he goes, when they stop people, they're not stopping them because of their color or whatever. And they when they're searching for a result. They're not searching to help anyone. They're searching for a result. And that was one of the key things that he said that he didn't realize that he had said. Probably that was the most distasteful thing. So when a police officer is digging you up, he ain't digging you up to keep you safe. He's digging you up because he wants a promotion at the end of the year for arresting as much people as he can. And some people will twist and say, well, that's taking criminals off the road. Even when you're not a criminal and they're digging you up like a criminal, you're going to feel like a criminal. And as a result of that, the police's approach to policing is terrible, especially when it comes to black folks. And I ain't gonna say no different. Yeah. And it's because of the leadership in any organization. It's always the leader that should hold the brunt of the poor nature of the force. Okay. So in this case, I could honestly say the police seems like the enemy of the people right now when it comes to black folks. That's how it feels. If you want to take part in the show, 0753-996-8143. I'll say it again, 0753-996-8143. 0753-996-8143. Always picking on black folks. This is what they are, bullies. So to jump back into the show, after that, anything I missed out? No. To jump back in the show, what have we been discussing? Just to recap before we wrap up the show in the next half an hour. We were talking about the deportation issues that's taking place. For those who don't know, there were some policies that came out from the Windrush investigation that said that it advised the government, a government commissioned inquiry fed back to the government to say that based on the findings, they recommend that the government should at no time deport anyone within the system that came to this country before the age of 12 years old. However, as highlighted by David Lammy, you know, I have to give him credit where credit is due when he does something useful. He, as highlighted by David Lammy on his show, brought it to my attention that a lot of these youngsters that are on, a lot of these young adults that are on this flight back to Jamaica came to the UK as young as 2 years old. How is it that a 2-year-old coming to this country is a criminal based on his background? People should be sent back to their home countries if they came to this country with a criminal mindedness. If this country turned that individual into a criminal, this country should deal with that individual as a criminal. However, if this country took in a criminal mindset, because by a certain age, you're supposed to be strong enough in character to understand the difference between right from wrong and to rebuff negative influences, then I can understand the deportation in those scenarios. Because let's face it, a country has to protect their citizens. However, when someone comes here as according to the recommendations before 12 years old, it means criminality and criminal mindset isn't set in, one, and the influences of the country and the system is fundamentally not going to be the product of where they're coming from, one, plus there should be a whole other different spew and breakdown within that framework. Unfortunately, I've not seen the report myself. I understand aspects of the report's extracts, so I don't know what conclusion they utilize to draw the age criteria. However, from my own natural thinking, I would assume I'm drawing those assumptions to say that these are the factors that should have been at least fundamental within that. A 2-year-old going into social services, as reported for one of those people on the flight, and then getting into problems when social services were the responsible parent or the de facto parent within those situations. Then as a result of that, it's social services that failed that youngster. Then they committed offenses because they should have become naturalized citizens automatically within social services. This is what happens with asylum seekers. The social services support their application package through the process. So why is it when a youngster from Jamaica in those situations that come to this country, simply because they're not asylum seekers, social services classes them as a second class citizens? They don't get the same privileges or the same rights. These are things that we need to start to really create a significant backlash and uproar towards, because social services try to be bully within people's houses. Note I didn't say my house because that can't go on. You get me? So they bully certain people that they can bully, and they get away with it, and they take these children into care. Sometimes, granted, it is a better situation for that to happen, probably because of what was taking place within those households. Because we understand that some youngsters left in the wrong setting can end up in a worse off situation, but yet the failure of these youngsters by the social services should also be considered within a criminal lifestyle where they've been failed. And as a result of that, a lot of these young people are on that booked for that flight tomorrow to leave the country. And I can't describe Preeti Patel the way I want to, because the producer's going to jump on my case like she defended Crusader a while ago. So
Not defended.
You're not defended.
Not defended.
So what was the word?
But it's just.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. So like how she defended Crusader a while ago. So I'm not going to call I'm not going to say how I feel about Priti
You
Patel,
already did.
but she is in a position to do that. But what you find is that it's just like we're the beating stick to prove a point, you know, and that's what I'm saying. And it's not right, because when the recommendations came in for the impact that the Labour Party did to the Jewish fraternity, quite rightly so, Keir Starmer supported those requirements and those reports to say, right, let's put in these practices, since they were found to be the case, whether they're exaggerated or not. We're going to follow this letter to the T, yeah, and we're going to put those things in and make sure that that community is protected. That would be the expected reaction from a government that were blamed for disenfranchising and destroying the lives of thousands. But yet here we are again, at 24 hours away from another chartered flight sending people home that say they have no links back to the Caribbean. And it's a shame. Sorry, caller, bear with me 1 second. The caller, what happened? The caller.
She said sure.
Oh, sorry, caller, can you call back? I don't know what happened. I just saw the phone. I don't know if I hanged up by accident or if you wanted to take part, 0753-996-8143. 0753-996-8143. So it's quite yeah. So these are the things that I'm saying. So whenever these recommendations take place, just like our fellow Jewish citizens of the UK, when these recommendations take place, we have to make sure, we have to kick up a stink. You know, I'm not going to say do what's happening in France, even though, you know, I want to say it, but I ain't going to say it. We have to kick up a stink to make sure that these policies are adhered to. Because if we don't, it's us or someone that looks like us that's going to bear the brunt of that issue down the road when recommendations aren't taken up. You know, this may not impact you, but it might impact someone you care about. You know, and yes, in a lot of these situations where the young person didn't grow up in care, the families may have had some irresponsibility to them. Because if your youngster came here, you should have been pushing for some naturalization from the moment they got off the flight, if you wanted them to remain in the UK. You know, we just sit back and be complacent too much. We need to push for things like that, you know. Where the life caller? Go on, I got told off, innit? No? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
She was just emphasizing the point that Priti Patel has been found guilty for bullying.
Yeah.
And she's presiding over police department, and she's sending the people that look like us home, even that look like us, back to home.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's just emphasizing the point that she's been found guilty for her bullying behavior, and we have to emphasize that.
No,
point.
Priti Patel is a bigoted bully. You know what I'm saying? A bigoted bully with big jawline, look like a pit bull dog. Oh, sorry, I've gone too far again.
It's just sometimes you take away from the point when you bring in.
No, because the features,
it takes
the features of an ugly. In my world of thinking, the features of an ugly person defines their inner arts and their inner working. You get what I'm saying? It's like when you see Boris, yeah, you know Boris is a bit weird, because you see it exuding. It's like he sweats weirdness, but people like him because of his characteristic way of accepting his weirdness.
Yeah, but when you boil it down to one feature, some of us might have that feature, and then it could be taken as
If sometimes people have features that look weird, but they're pretty with it. You ever hear about like people with like weird features, but they're pretty?
Anyway, it's detracting from the argument. Go back to the argument.
Priti Patel just ugly. A ugly Patel. You get me? I got them to call her ugly Patel. Someone texted that in before, and I agree. Text message from 642. Yes, what is the name of this show and the accompanying YouTube channel? OTEP Core Bisi Bassi. I don't even know if I said that name right. It is the Doctor's Surgery 642. And the show is from 8 until 11 on a Tuesday morning. You know, we hope that one day will be the morning breakfast show that can challenge the big boys, isn't it? Let's push for that one day, right? Y'all gonna support me, right? Getting to that point. Get some commercialization going on around here. Yeah. So go onto YouTube, search in the search box in YouTube, the Doctor's Surgery, then go to filter or refine. I can't remember what the button is going to be. And then you'll get a drop down menu, and then you see type, and as in what type of filter you're looking at in terms of one of the subheadings will say type, and below type you'll see channels, and then you click on channel. The Doctor's Surgery will be right at the top of those channels. And then you just click subscribe. So whenever the show goes live, you get a little icon to say Doctor's Surgery streaming.
You have to click the notification bell.
Yeah, click the notification bell. So whenever we go live, you get that little notification, because we want to start doing shows like little podcasts as well, because there's so much taking place. And by the time we get to the radio on the day, there's too much to discuss, and it's like the thoughts become so much, it would be convoluted to give so much information in such a short space of time. So we want to find a way to actually have dialogue or discuss things a little bit more out there. So anyway, let's jump to the next one. We also spoke about, I have to do a quicker summary now. We also spoke about garrison culture, and we explained about the JLP leader, Edward Seaga in Jamaica of the 80s, that we highlighted came to power through the support of the United States and the CIA, as widely accepted these days. That was the case. There was an article on him a couple of weeks ago, and last week's show was to do predominantly with this point. And one of the things that we wanted to highlight was that is clear. The article explained his deep-rooted understanding of the people he represented in West Kingston. And for those people that will say, what does this have to do with anything? If you can remember, if you're old enough to remember the Tivoli Gardens incursion with against the Prezi, Christopher Doddos Coke, in 2010, you'll understand that was the result of all that process that started way in the late 70s, creating that garrison culture. And now Jamaica has got an operation to get rid of garrisons within the island, a task that's proven a little bit more difficult than they had first imagined. So with garrison culture, we know that this was something that was instrumental from a top-up-down principle, that it was from a governmental principle or even oppositional party principle that created garrison culture and garrison lifestyles. And that's not taken away from the fact that those people that lived there in West Kingston revered Edward Seaga for his great stance in helping them. But when we look at it, we have to wonder, if you didn't know any better, if what was there in front of you was the best of what was there and nothing better was there before, then it wasn't, we're not just blaming the people for those choices. It was what it is, and I'm not judging in that context. We have to look at then what's taking place in the UK. We can see the same kind of gang culture, might not be called garrisons here, but you can see the same kind of gang culture being cultivated. And we made references to akin and compare this to how the music culture changed, using hip hop as the example, from hip hop being a happy music into being a violent music, where in the UK you can see the change in culture and times, where now we're entering a phase now where post-Cold Wars are so rife, county lines is so rife, gang culture is so rife, that a black person can be stated by the Met to be 9 times more likely than their white counterpart to be killed, but yet the Met presenting an imagery as if they're helping the cause. We know that the Met ain't out there helping the cause. You will have some decent officers, 1 or 2, that are genuine in what they're doing, but overall the unspoken emphasis doesn't care about that. No, because the unspoken emphasis that you can see is to create jobs, employment, and money. And it generates more money with the infrastructure that's being created from gang culture from our youths than if they weren't doing what they were doing. I can assure you that gang culture and gang lifestyle and prison and all these stuff are generating hundreds of millions, if not billions, for the UK economy, whilst our youths are becoming, 9 times more likely to be killed. So that was said to highlight to those that are helping to say you will have obstacles and you will have people within the infrastructure of who you think would be helping you to tear you down from achieving those goals because you're messing around with their money. Yeah, I said it. We talked about the vaccine and the fact that they're using subtlety to create compulsory vaccination. And again, with me saying that it's not telling anyone to take or not to take, it's more so to highlight that it is a sad day when we enter a system where vaccination is becoming, where we're creating a society with a two-tiered system, and it is akin to the forced tiered system that was implemented on Jewish people during the 1930s and during the early 1940s during World War II, where the same system is now being rapturously welcomed in today's society for anyone to omit anyone out of society that is against the vaccine. And I'm not telling you to be against or be for. I'm saying this is what's taking place. And I use the example of the movies where Avengers, showed the survival whilst Germany lost the war. Avengers showed the survival of the pseudo system, Hydra, that still survived the war and that was still influential in global politics. And, some people say, historians will say Germany lost the war, but the Third Reich didn't. So it's like the system that's come to be now with that evil leader, Edwin, who people call Bill Gates. And I call him Edwin from Predators because the doctor with that little snickle, that slime ball, was the most evil of all the predators, even more so than the predator alien monsters that was in that movie. If you watch that movie Predators, Edwin behaves exactly like Bill Gates. So, I know people throw me with the conspiracy nuts with that one, but I'm just drawing comparisons. The guy is just sniveling, and the vaccine, God, makes you feel sick, doesn't he? But it's the fact of the matter is it's creating a two-tiered system. And that two-tiered system is unfortunate because, like I'm saying, anyone that is Jewish and that's seen this thing taking place that is anti-vax, they must be scared because it must feel to them like they're reliving moments what their recent grandparents or great grandparents just went through. It must be scary. I wonder, any Jewish non-vaxxers out there that's scared? 0753-996-8143. 0753-996-8143. I'll be so shocked if the phone rings and it's one. But nonetheless, it's what's taking place, and it's a sad thing. People have always seen the UK as the flagship amongst white society for what is right. We know the Western white society is being, if we view it from certain organization as being the most corrupt and evil system ever. But Britain has led the fight against slavery, rightly so. And Britain led the fight against Nazi Germany, rightly so. So we hope that Britain keeps its reputation as being somewhere that is reputable, where people are happy to live. You know, Britain, as bad as it is with the rise of racism again, is still perhaps the most balanced and fair place in Europe to live. I give it that much. But the ugly face of what is evil is rising its in people's thinking and behavior is rising its face again and getting more structured in a subtle way. And last but not least, we spoke about black subcultures in terms of the fact that it's like the subtlety within our own families and structure is atrocious, and we have to start to understand ourselves a lot more better and start to respect ourselves far more. With people, protagonists like Reggie Bush, propagating that a true black family should be a black person with a white person, it's absolutely, disgusting. I couldn't care less who you're with, but a true black family is where there's love and growth, as in any other family, and there should not be anything wrong with the institution, and it should not be denigrated in any way when two black people are in love and together and create children that look like them and their grandparents and their great grandparents time immemorial. And likewise, no one should be judging anyone for choosing to go out with someone that's white or anyone else and creating a mixed family. It should be a case where respect is given and balance and fairity is given, irrespective of whatever the dynamics. However, in today's society, what you're seeing is that the black family is under heavy attack. Did I eat the H a while ago and just say heavy attack? Yeah. The black family is under heavy attack, left, right, and center. We saw that with the Tesco and the Sainsbury's advert, and it was openly admitted on national radio talk show with the statement, well, with mixed families, we've had a step forward. So it's like it's acceptable because it's a step forward. No, it's not acceptable. That's like someone bowing to appease. Why can't you accept what it is? No one frowns on an Asian family. So why is it that the black family, the dark-skinned black family, is frowned on in such a way? I've seen Asian families on Christmas adverts for years, and no one's ever batted an eyelid. I always used to say, well, why can't they put a black family? So credit to Sainsbury's and probably boycott Tesco, because it's atrocious that Tesco chose to pull their advert. But credit to Sainsbury's. And as long as Sainsbury's do the right thing, we know where we can bounce. But you go Tesco tomorrow, you're going to see 100,000 black people in the same way. So until we can get our house in order, and love ourselves, and anyone that disrespect, we organize like how the Jewish people them turn and say, no, none of that. We have to start doing it like that. We have to start saying, no, none of that. So the moment Tesco pull the advert, that means we pull our money. Real talk. And we work with those who respect us because we respect ourselves. We find fairness and balancement and beauty within ourselves. From the beautiful nappy hair to the nice voluptuous lips to the broad nose to the golden features, irrespective of what shade of golden that is. That's what it's about. No, man. You have to love yourself, because I love me. I love my people as a result of that. You understand? So I don't know about you lot. Me love me. Do you love you? If you love you, you want to see a reflection of you out there in the world. And you shouldn't feel ashamed of you because society has made you feel ashamed for one reason or another. You get me? I have no qualms in going out the road. Once my hair clean, with it picky as hell. Anyone who knows me know that. You get me? So, and people can call it picky, but it feels nice and it's soft, and especially when you put some good natural things in it. You get me? So look after on yourself and don't make nobody make you no feels like you're not beautiful. Because everyone's just like I said, squeezing the gold to make diamonds, and then they steal from the diamonds, and we are ashamed of who we are, but yet everything that we are, they take it and just switch it around. It's been the doctor's surgery. You got anything to wrap up and say? For this week, anyway. We're back next week, same time, Tuesday morning from 8 a.m. to 11. For the first time this morning, we reach on time. It felt so good that I was able to switch over from the advert straight to the mic. I'll do my best to be here again next week on time. So until then, take care, and give care. The doctor's surgery is, subscribe. We need some subscription, please. All right. So I don't even like me start wrap up too quick. I run out of things to say, the last part. So, like I say, family, take care and give care. And go to the Facebook site for the votes and add your vote. I know there's a lot of people already there. They know the result is coming out on Kwanzaa, which is the 1st of January 2021. So until then, we catch you guys next week. Subscribe to the doctor's surgery. All right.